LFC Daytrippers, brought to you by bookmakers.com.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Fatback 4 from the LFC Daytrippers. I'm Gav, and with me tonight, as usual, is Emmet, Keith, and Seany, and we're going to look back at Liverpool 2, Arsenal 2 at Anfield in the Premier League today. Show is brought to you by bookmakers.com. Check out their website if you like to gamble, and do so responsibly. You can get all the sports, all the bookies, all the odds, whether that's the Masters or whatever you're looking at, and get them there. If not, there's stats, comparisons, articles, all sorts of stuff on there for your people that don't gamble, just like to read about sport. Liverpool 2, Arsenal 2, a game that had everything, both on and off the pitch. Well, on the pitch when the whistle had gone. A cracking game of football. Tale of two halves probably, but we'll get into it and we'll see how we feel about it in the next hour or so. But first of all, Keith, how are you, Keith?
Oh, grand, yeah, I'm grand,
I
Gav.
haven't spoken to you in ages.
I know, yeah, fleeting. Yeah, it's Easter, you do forget time is all over the place. I don't even know what day it is, and then I remembered it was Sunday, so we had a pod. Yeah, it is what it is.
Okay. Any news now? Just usual shy?
Same shy.
Yeah, perfect. Seany, same shy for you? Anything happening?
Same shite, different shovel. All good.
Stuff. And Emma, how are you?
Yeah, good. I've no real news, so that's a bit of a boring weekend, isn't it?
Christ. He's doing anything.
I was supposed to go out for dinner today, and I was going to miss the match, so I came up with some sort of an excuse to. No, just came up with some sort of an excuse to stay home.
Okay.
I'm kind of glad I did now because it is. You said it there. It was a great game of football. Probably one of the best this season in the Premier League. I think, excitement wise, not just Liverpool games. But yeah, no, it was an enjoyable watch for the second half.
Okay. What was I going to say? Someone's commenting. Passio's commenting saying Emmet's got an open mic. Yeah, Emmet's had to switch from a laptop to a phone, so that's why I'm probably hearing the sound coming out of the phone. Don't worry about it. We'll get through it. Let's start though. Lineups. Keith, come to you first. Back four is the back four. Midfield, Fabinho, Henderson, Jones keeps his place. Up front, there was talk Nunez wouldn't be in the squad. He wasn't seen on. He went for a walk or something, and he wasn't seen. But apparently he was grand. He was on the bench. The talk of sickness then as well. But he goes Jota, he goes Gakpo, and he goes Salah. Any surprises in it for
you? Probably not really. I mean,
Jones surprised me.
I suppose what are the options? What are the alternatives? Do you know what I mean? I mean, obviously, Thiago comes back in, but isn't ready to start. Harvey Elliott is in and out, back on the bench today. But yeah, ultimately I wasn't surprised with Jones getting the start. Other than that, it was as expected. Nunez, there was, as you say, a lot of people losing their shit that he wasn't seen in a picture. But I do think there's probably some sort of issue with Nunez at the moment because he's been used very sparingly, whether it's starting games and coming off early or whether it's not starting and coming in. So I don't know if there's a knock or something that's outstanding there with Nunez. But yeah, ultimately I wasn't overly surprised with the team. The fact that Curtis Jones came injured at night sort of was maybe a surprise. So the fact he kept his place, probably not so much.
Arsenal for life. Who's extended his name to Premier League Champions 2023, but that could come back to bite you. I hope it doesn't. I'm going to say it first. Very disappointed you outplayed us in the second half, but we could have nicked it. A win if we kept the title back and put Tierney on sooner. Seany, Jones, if Nunes, like Keith said, is being used a bit sparingly, it could be a slight issue he has or an illness or whatever it is. Jota, okay, that's fine, but were you surprised by Jones? Because I was. I thought he might put Elliott back in there, similar to the United game at home.
I actually thought Jones wasn't too bad in the last game. But 4-3-3 again. To be honest with you, Gav, I don't even look at the lineups anymore. I'm being deadly serious with you. I'm honestly at that stage now with this season where I just trying to turn on, tune in for kick-off, 4-3-3 shite again. So we roll with it. But I didn't expect them to change it in a game like this anyway. At home to the best side in the country at the moment. Wasn't too surprised, but yeah, who gives a bollocks who starts really? Season.
Okay, thanks for that, Johnny.
Toast.
Emma, were you surprised by any of it, or did you not give a bollocks to Johnny?
I'm like Keith. I honestly thought that you bring Elliott back in for this game. I just think Elliott's a little bit more progressive than Jones. I find myself shouting at the fucking screen more often when Jones gets onto it, because we're winning the ball up high, and you think, grand, now let's break on them, and then it's kind of slow the ball down. And I hate using the phrase passing it sideways and passing it backwards. Sometimes you need to do that in a game, but I think he does a little bit too often, more than he needs to. I just thought maybe Elliott probably would have got us more on the front foot a little bit quicker than Jones would.
Into the game though, it's a huge game for Arsenal because City go and expectedly beat Southampton yesterday and get them back to 2 points going into today. Left Arsenal with a game, and 2 points, but with the same amount of games played. Was I right in saying Arsenal played one today, so that leaves City with a game in hand. But no, sorry, how many points are City? Sorry, 5 they got it back to. City they've gone to 6 today, so it was a huge game for Arsenal. And they all are now. Arsenal probably have to be playing with the mentality that City are going to win every game, and looking at City's running. Brighton away, Chelsea home, second last game of the season. Everything else looks like they'll just steamroll teams. But into the game, and Keith, like the first 10 minutes is frantic. Both teams are trying to get their foot on it already. It just seemed like it was a bit of a mental start to the game. And Arsenal will be coming into this where they know they don't really turn up at Anfield. They haven't got much at Anfield and I don't know how long. And Liverpool have blitzed them on a couple of occasions. But it's kind of a manic start, and both teams are trying to find their way or trying to get an upper hand and stuff like that. And Arsenal get the opener through Martinelli, and they go for Liverpool. They go right through the middle of Liverpool. Where do you throw in fault at this? Because I think there's definitely fault. I have to give credit to Arsenal in the way they try to go through Liverpool, but there's definitely fault there. Like Van Dijk's throwing an odd leg at it. Robertson's a bit unlucky. He tries to get across and just gets the ball nicked away from him. But again, Keith, as much as it was frantic at the start, Liverpool's starting slow again.
Yeah, I put more blame on Liverpool on this than I do credit to Arsenal. They go at Liverpool, and I think it's more the threat and the fear of Arsenal that has Liverpool all over the shop, because Kanate rushes out, he comes out of position, Virgil hits it or it hits off him. I don't know. Virgil I'd expect to do better, to be honest, even if it comes in quick. And then Robertson doesn't get across quick. I don't, they were raving about the finish by Martinelli. I thought it was like a bit of a scuffy thing. I'm looking at it and saying, who the fuck did that hit off? And I don't know, it was an awful goal to concede because I didn't think it was overly great play, but it was symptomatic of Liverpool. And when you give a team like Arsenal the leg up after, what was it? How many minutes? 4 minutes or something, was it?
It was a bit longer than that.
8 minutes. 8, was it?
Yeah.
I want to check now. Yeah, 8 minutes. It was just ridiculous. Ridiculous carry on. And I feared for Liverpool, to be honest, because I look at Liverpool in games and I think they can beat anyone at Anfield. They can beat anybody there. And it's their away form has been absolutely atrocious this season. And our form in general is just giving away goals at the worst times, be it going in at half-time, coming out at half-time, or right at the start of a game. and Arsenal punished us at the Emirates similarly, and I just thought we cannot start the game like this. I thought the start, it was sloppy. Kev put a comment in there about Trent's positioning. Clearly, that was instruction. Trent looked like he was playing a double six. Kanate looked like he was given the task of dealing with Martinelli as well. It was a bit of a mad setup by Liverpool. I know Sean, you were saying 4-3-3. I looked at it and seen 4-3-3, but when they lined up, I'm like, the fuck is going on here? This looks a bit weird and a bit disjointed. But it was just one of them where I felt Liverpool were just, when that went in, I'm like, this isn't good, because it's sloppy from loads of players. Robbo sloppy, Trent sloppy, Virgil sloppy, Kanate sloppy, Alisson sloppy. Do you know what I mean? I just thought it was a bad sign, bad juju we got off, and then it allowed Arsenal to take the stranglehold. I thought up till then, it was a bit of a helter-skelter. Arsenal looked to be a bit more dangerous. Liverpool looked like it could probably look to get at them as well, but I just thought that gave the impetus to them, and I'm like, now here we go again, But the ending was great, but that was just the start of an absolutely just first half hour for me.
Yeah, I thought it was a terrible first half hour. Johnny, we've seen it. We've thrown her at them a little bit where their application just hasn't been good enough. And it felt like the first 5-10 minutes, I like the goal comes after 8, but it felt like, it was a bit scrappy and stuff. But again, that goal to me is a bit of application, Johnny.
Yeah, just not sharp. Just not sharp at all. And I would say, like, the players you'd normally rely on not digging us out, but we haven't been able to rely on these boys for quite some time now. A lot of these things are becoming sort of emblematic of, like, Virgil's game, the lazy swing at the ball, Robbo on his heels. Arsenal started brightly. Give Arsenal credit. I think they're a brilliant side. But I was of the idea that we beat them today. I think they would have shit the bed, and I think if we had even been 10% better in the first half, we would have beaten them. Honestly, because you can't take 40 minutes off against currently the best side in England and expect to get results. But I think they shit the bed in the second half as much as we did in the first 40. And I'm just sick of it. Just the body language after the goal goes in, just tired of it. Heads dropping straight away. And like Keith, I fear the worst. If we go down early in games now, I can see us getting pasted. And I kind of looked at the Chelsea game the other night going, even though we're at Anfield, I'm like, Jesus, we'd have been playing a decent side tonight, they would have battered us, and that was my fear when Arsenal went 1-0 up. But look, it wasn't to be, but just fucking sloppy, so infuriating to watch, so uncharacteristic of this team that it's now becoming characteristic. And I don't know. I don't know. I just, if I'm gonna be just completely blunt and honest with you, I have an absolute pain in me bollocks with it. I have a pain in me bollocks with them all. Honestly, I really do. I don't mind injuries impacting the season or this, that, and the other, but giving up. Look at the body language when the second goal goes in. Like, Arsenal let us back into that game with Xhaka being a fucking toolbox. Very similar to what happened last year at Anfield when the game was at 0-0. They gave us an in. The crowd put the fucking team on their back. And that's literally what goes back in the game. But I'm sick of the same ones moaning at linesmen, moaning at each other, throwing their arms up. It's just pathetic. I don't know what the story is, Gav. Mentality monsters to this shite that we're watching now.
You see, I look at the league table and I think we said, well, there's no hope of Liverpool getting top 4. Just let's put that there, right? And I kind of look at these performances and I was making the point on one of the shows last week that you don't become this bad overnight, and I'm always banging the drum about applying yourself and showing intensity, and I don't think this side has. I think You know, like people were saying to me, like I think it might have been after the Chelsea game. People were saying, sell this, sell that, get rid of this, get rid of that, change this, change. I was like, we're literally changing everything within the club. And my point was, I still believe that if you put 3 or 4 new players into this squad, I think it rejuvenates a lot of players that are already in it and improves the quality of the squad, because what's going to go out and what could possibly come in will make a massive difference, not only in quality but the fact that they'll play football. But when I watch Liverpool at times, and in the first half an hour there today, it was so passive. You know, like I don't mind if Liverpool go out there and try their best, and they're not on the best of form, and clearly they're not in good form. Clearly the confidence isn't great, but go out there and get stuck in, right? And if Arsenal are beating you 2-0, fine, they've 2 bits of brilliance. What can you do? Like, we've done that to Arsenal so many times over the years, where Arsenal might come out. Arsenal probably aren't the best example, because Arsenal have a horrendous record of just folding in big games. But what I mean is, if you come out against a team that you know they're good, but they're in bad form, and you do them 2-0, but they've given you a right game, the opposition fans are probably thinking to themselves, well, we gave it everything we had, they're just that bit better than us. But I didn't feel Liverpool were like that. I felt Liverpool were just very passive and very... He can easily get to that ball, why isn't he getting to it? He can easily make that tackle, why isn't he making that tackle? He can easily get that cross in, why isn't he getting that cross in? And it wasn't like he can't do it, it's just they weren't doing it. Do you know the sort of way? And for the first 30, I felt that way today, where it's just... I'm a bit like you, a bit like, this is a lot of me bollocks, like, do you know what I mean? And yeah, Xhaka being an idiot gives them an in, but Emmet, that can't be enough. Like, we can't have an opposition player being a bit of a prick, right, to kickstart us in a game. Can't be like that. I don't care if you're in 8th or 10th or 1st or 2nd. You have to come out as a Liverpool player and put everything you have in. And if it's a case where they're just gone and you can't do anything about it, they'll need to be changed. But you can't all do it in one summer either. That's the annoying bit for me. I don't know how you feel, but that's the annoying bit of me, where they come out and it's like, oh, what it'll be sort of thing. And they need opposition and they need fans to fucking go, here, pull the fucking finger out here. You know what I mean?
I'm exactly the same. And the thing that Seany is referring to was last year, I think Arsenal are fairly well on top of us, and Arteta had a bit of a go off Klopp on the sideline, wasn't it? Over a Mane challenger.
Yeah.
Went up for a header. And the crowd got going. And the same again today. Here's an idea. Why don't you go out and get the crowd up yourselves by throwing in hard tackle? Like you were saying there, it's like they can't... I hate saying this about Liverpool, but it's like they can't be arsed. It's like they're nearly playing with their flip-flops on at this stage, but they've been playing like this all season. Do you know what I mean? If they had been trying and losing games, and we got to this part of the season where, okay, top 4, I'll still believe until it's mathematically impossible. I always will. But if they got to this stage and they looked at it and thought, look, well, that's well out of our reach now, you kind of half understand it. But it's been like this all season. And without Xhaka being a tick today, who knows what that score could have been. Do you know what I mean? But instead of letting the opposition come out and get the crowd going. I know I've criticised the Anfield crowd as being quiet this year, but they've not really had much to fucking cheer about. Come out and start the game the way you finish the game. I don't see how they can't do that. I know we're talking about them being tired and that like that, and do they not have 90 minutes or 70 minutes or whatever at that pace in them? Because to be honest with you, it looked like they could have kept going for another 20 minutes there today. And I think if we went for maybe another 5-6 minutes, we probably would have got the winner. But you're right, it's not enough to expect the crowd to drag the team along. You're supposed to come out and make the crowd get up for the game. You're the ones that they're there to see. It was a bit disappointing, to be honest with you. But look, they did change it in the end.
The second goal, Keith, I'll give it to you. Martinelli set off down the left-hand side. And again, we're short in the middle. But, like, Konate goes out to him. But Konate shouldn't be giving him that much space. You know he's either going to put it on his left or put it on his right and put it in the box. Right? And Virgil van Dijk is just standing in there going, I'm not bothered by that fella behind me. I'm not bothered by Jesus behind me. I'll just stand in a position that looks good. And the ball just sails over him. And it's a good header. Alisson hasn't got a chance. But again, Keith, I'm okay with the ball going down the side. I'm okay with it. But then it's the simple things. Like, Konate was brilliant today, by the way. I want to say that. I thought he was very, very good today. But when that gets to Martinelli, either stand him up and say to him, I'm not letting you cross this ball. right? You don't want to get too tight because he low centre of gravity, he might go by it and stuff like that. But if he gets inside and he gets a header, Virgil van Dijk doesn't bother even looking where Jesus is. Not arsed one bit where he is. It's just, I'll stand in here and I'll probably head it. Instead of saying to himself, there he is there, I'm just going to take 2 steps back here. And alright, you might get a clean header on it, but you're close enough to Jesus where you can put him off or be right in his eye line. Jesus has the easiest header in the world when it comes in. He's loads of time to look at it. And again, Keith, it's simple pieces of application. That's all it is.
It's been the
basic
thing of
defending.
Virgil van Dijk all season. He hasn't taken ownership or responsibility at all. He's letting things go by him. He's letting things happen around him that, in my opinion, he should be dealing with. He should be taking the lead with. Do you know, if he's meant to be the leader of the defence, he has to be. You know, I'd always have let Van Dijk away with this crap about peddling back, you know what I mean, and sort of trying to force an attacker into an area where he can get at him. And this season he's been doing that without the getting at him bit, and it's been doing me head in. But not taking the lead in the box early, it's happening one too many times for me this season. He's I don't know what he's doing. He has to deal with that. I don't think Alisson really, well, does he? At the time, I thought Alisson could probably go for it and maybe could have got a save on it, but it is a good header. It's probably been a bit too harsh.
Yeah, but you see, Keith, it's not a whip ball where it's whipping towards the back post. He comes that far out that it's floated in. It's not coming towards Alisson where he can come out and meet it and go, that's mine. It's floated across rather than in towards him. But honestly, like, Robertson does his best to try to get back in, but can't. But honestly, Virgil van Dijk, first of all, right, if he's standing there, Keith, and he decides this is my position, right, 2 things wrong with it. 1, you're not following the only fell in the box. And 2, you haven't looked around. You're not even side on. So if he comes across the front of you, you can't react to it. He basically stands staring over at Martinelli and not bothered what's behind him. Now, I'm sorry, he might think that Robertson is on the cover, but it's not Robertson's job to cover. If Saka is behind, it's Robertson's job to cover, but not Jesus.
Not Jesus.
He's the centre forward.
Yeah,
he's the centre forward.
That's what I mean.
He's the only one in the box.
He's letting that happen too often, Gav. It's constantly like he's not dealing with the players he's meant to be dealing with, and it's look. I'm not going to throw all these lads under the bus, right? Because genuinely, I do. You said about maybe just a little replenish in the summer and we see them back to their best and back to what we expect.
No, I think that's what we're gonna have to do.
But I think it will happen. I think in the summer we will bring in new players, we'll get rid of some players, and I think we'll see a different Liverpool next season. They've thrown in the towel this year. It's not that they've got shy. They've been shy, but it's not that all these players, I think, 1 to 11 or 1 to 15, 1 to 16 have literally fallen off a cliff and cannot be, saved. I just think they've given up, and that's the worst thing you can do. Like, throwing in the towel, like it's absolutely scandalous. And Van Dijk is the leader of that. He's chief among them. I was giving him the benefit of the doubt about the World Cup.
Sorry,
clearly wasn't that.
Shane McCall says Jesus didn't even have to do anything. Wasn't great movement. Just wandered into the 6-yard box in acres of space. Yeah. Kevin Ball says he wanted Robbo to deal with it. Sorry, Robbo's not there to deal with the centre forward. Yeah. If Bukayo Saka is flying in at the back post and it goes over Van Dijk and goes over Jesus and he's in at the back post and Robertson isn't there with it, absolutely fine. But as a centre back, knowing your partner is out there dealing with Martinelli, all you have to do is turn and look and say, take 2 steps towards your own goal to get yourself goal side of him so you can give yourself some sort of look on it. But he doesn't.
You don't even need to win the header. You just need to interrupt the player.
Do something. Yeah. Do something.
When there's nobody in front of you, like when you're a centre half and your other centre half is out there defending the wing, and there's no other Arsenal player in front of you, who the fuck are you marking? Like, your player is obviously behind you.
You're just marking
exactly,
space.
That's what I'm saying.
You're marking space.
So the players are clearly behind you. If there's nobody in front of you, they're behind you.
Yeah, I know.
So you need to, like you said, you need to turn side on. Like he needs to have his head on a swivel to see where his player is.
He either turns side on, or where the way he's facing, he drops back a yard or two to give him in some sort of vision. He can see where the player is, and he might be thinking the player might want to come across me. Great, right? But if he gets tight to that player, right, it means Martinelli's ball is even harder to hit. And even if he puts it in where the player wants to come across him, at least he's standing beside the player. He can try to get a block on it or get to a force. But it's just laziness. It's like, don't get me wrong, if that player is right beside If Van Dijk is right beside Jesus, Martinelli comes in and whips a brilliant ball that just about gets over Van Dijk's head and onto his head. You go, that's brilliant.
Lads, it's
You know what I
centre
mean?
half playing 1-on-1. You never let the striker see the number on the back of your jersey. Simple as
No,
that.
you just stand. You have to stand facing the game. You have to, or you drop 2 yards. You drop 2 yards because you want to see as much as you possibly can. It's not hard. It's not hard. But look,
you don't let the striker see the number on your back.
No, because then he can go either way, move either way, and he's
Exactly.
in trouble. Seany,
Like, it's laziness. It's just laziness. That's all it is.
I think it is. Yeah,
Simple.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it's you know, a defender that wants to defend, and Van Dijk defends brilliantly a lot of the time. But a defender that really wants to defend there, literally just gets himself in the position where he goes, Grant. Do you know what I mean? I can see him. If it comes in short, I'll get to it. If it goes long, it might go over my head, but I'm going to make sure I'm touch tight to this fella, that he's not getting a free header on it. But that's not how it worked out. But Seany, we get back into it. It's a good move from Liverpool. Jones a little flick around the corner for Jota, wasn't it? Jota pulls it back. Henderson's kind of caught on his feet, on his heels a little bit. It goes across the goal. Salah makes it 2-1. And for all that was going on in the first half, you were kind of coming off going, yeah, we needed that. But Arsenal needed half-time as well, Seany. They did need half-time, didn't they?
I think there was only one team in it after we scored, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I know they had a few half chances, but we completely dominated the game from that moment onwards. They shit the bed. Arteta's carry on. Xhaka's carry on. Just let them down. And they're a gang of whinging fucks, aren't they? I noticed that about them today. They are on the rep. And I understand sometimes that's what you need, but I actually think it's kind of counterproductive for them in that sense. But yeah, we're in the ascendancy and they need half-time badly and they get it. And then all sorts of madness going on at half-time with fucking officials and all. I just don't know. And even Sky now are playing into this soap opera, and I just genuinely have a pain in me bollocks, because if I'm being deadly serious with you, it's a storm in a teacup. It's not like fucking the ref bleeping puts a John Jones elbow on Robbo's chin. It looks like it's a bit of an awkward movement between the two of them. I don't think it was any I just think it's a storm in a teacup. I think I don't know.
I disagree totally.
I was just kind of.
Disagree
I think
totally.
I've seen Dave Maddock lashing up a big thing tonight about all this. Look, listen, lads. We're doing this podcast now, I don't know how many years, and the seasons where we've ran away with the league and we spent hours talking about how shite officials are. The 100%. Seasons where we win Champions Leagues, we talk about how shite officials are. So, like, again, it's just one of them weekends where, like, I don't think I'd say about a worse weekend of officiating than that. The shite I seen yesterday in the Brighton game, and then the stuff going on today, it's absolutely mental. It's crazy. I don't want to spend too much time going over it. My brief synopsis will be of it is they're all shite. That every single one of them are shite, and Paul Tierney, in particular, is the worst of the whole lot of them. Yeah. He's a fucking tramp. He's an absolute tramp. And there's definitely an underlying issue there between him and Klopp. Now, I don't know what the fuck happened today with the linesman. I'd love to know more about it, but the PGMOL probably just apologise, send him on to the Championship for a few weeks, and he'll be reffing games at Anfield again next year. So next season. So there's absolutely no fucking point in. I don't think there's much point in mulling over these cunts, because they're absolutely brutal. They're just terrible. Did you see the shite that happened in the Brighton game yesterday?
Well, just the Brighton game. The Brighton game yesterday is compounded today on a number of levels, right? What happens in the Brighton game yesterday is they have a goal disallowed for using his arm, but they don't actually do anything about the push on him before he hits his arm, right? They then don't give a penalty when your man stands on him, right? Which is, right, unacceptable. But then they compound it by coming out today and saying, yeah, we've actually written to Brighton to say it should have been a penalty. But that's it. We don't give a fuck after that. Because even though we've 50 cameras in each ground, we can pick up every incident from all different angles. We've guys in vans looking at it. We've everything we want. It's going to take us 24 hours to admit that actually that's wrong. And that's mad. I disagree completely.
That could cost them a Champions League place as well.
It absolutely
I know
could.
it's unrealistic, but like that could cost Brighton dearly, and it's a shitty apology the next day again because of ineptness and ineptitude. Load of bollocks. If a ref makes a bad misses something, the VAR is meant to be there.
That's what it's there for.
And it's fucking disgusting the way they're implementing
That's what it's there for.
Not implementing it because they're afraid to go against referees on the pitch. It's fucking terrible. Disgraceful.
Correct. And then they just come out with a letter today. Now, the thing today, Seany, is I disagree with you completely because Robertson's mounting out of him, right, over something. And he goes over to the referee and he does put his hand towards the referee's back, right? But I don't think he's moving towards the referee. He just kind of goes like you would talking to anyone. The referee has no reason whatsoever to lift his fucking elbow up over his own shoulder and crank it back. There's no reason for it. And that's not me saying it because of the Liverpool player. I was just amazed when I seen it. Absolutely amazed. I was like, if Robertson puts his hand on his back and he feels like he's being aggressive in any way, all he has to do is just turn to Robertson and go away. Or back or stop and just go away. Or call the referee. He lifts his arm and cranks it right back, right into his chin. Now, there's going to be an investigation into this. They're definitely going to use the fact that Robertson was aggressive towards him and maybe put his hand on him. That's definitely, he gets booked for it. Booked for putting his hand on the referee or booked for maybe mounting, right? But I don't know how they allow this to go without something absolutely happening, because it was just madness. It was absolute madness. And then you have the likes of Roy Keane, who's asked to comment on it. And now I didn't see this till after the game because I don't watch any of the coverage. I actually see at halftime I seen this on Twitter, believe it or not. When the halftime whistle went, I was kind of milling around. Let's see it on Twitter and went, what the fuck? And went back to it. And Roy Keane is there going, well, he should worry more about his defending. He's a big baby. And I was like, fucking hell. Like, genuinely, right? Your man elbows him in the face, right? And Roy Keane decides, I have to keep up this fucking persona. It's actually fucking annoys me now that people pay money every month to Sky to watch this fucking idiot. I'm being honest with you, who sits there rigid, I'm the hard man, and I'm this, and I'm that. And then people go and pay money when he gets up on a stage to sit there passing these dry fucking comments. He's a hard man. This is the same fella who's calling the crybaby, who threw an absolute fucking tantrum at St. James's Park because Shearer had the nerve to wind them up in a game. And the same fella that fucked off over World Cup because he had issues and couldn't sort them out. But he's going around calling these people crybabies. He wasn't a crybaby. This is a player getting in a referee's face or a linesman's face over some decision that Roy Keane has done umpteen fucking times in his career. Every player does it. And Roy Keane has to sit there and instead of going, Robertson's a bit aggressive there, but there's no need to do that. It's always a crybaby. And honest to God, lads, I'm at breaking point with people that speak about football now. I genuinely am. There's a very small circle of people that I will listen to talk about football because they want to talk about football on a rational basis and a balanced basis and be able to give you both sides of a story or see things in different ways. I'm at breaking point now with this absolute bullshit in the media, across fucking social media, everything, where you just have to be a fucking arsehole with opinion just so you can look like something. Like Roy Keane's just placed there now to be, you should look, nothing balanced about it, just this bullshit that comes out every fucking week. But Keith, he clearly fucking elbows him.
Yeah, he elbows him in the
There's
chin.
no need. Like, if that happens in a game where the player puts a hand on the back and a fella does that, what happens?
Yeah, exactly. For example, I only saw the Mitrovic thing the other day that he got the 8-game ban for. I didn't see it at the time, and I googled that, and I was like, Jesus, there's not really that much in that. He goes a bit mad, but the actual physical touching the referee, people were comparing it with Bruno Fernandes at the linesman, and it was nothing. It was more than that. You saw that today, a linesman throwing an elbow up, and I didn't see the close-up image, so I'm only going off. Madge Apple put a comment in there that the footage showed that Robbo didn't go anywhere near him, and that man. So it wasn't like Robbo had his hand on him or anything.
Robbo puts his hand around the back of him, but when you actually see it from the tunnel, Robertson actually doesn't put his hand onto him. It doesn't look like he puts his hand onto him. And
so
the rest
he's throwing an elbow up. I mean,
he does,
you can see linesmen and refs, when players come at them, right, they'll put a hand up, they'll tell them to get back, they'll tell them to get away. I've never seen a linesman do bleeding one of them up to a player's face. And I don't know the reason for it. It wasn't like he was being attacked. It's not like he was being manhandled. It's not like... It didn't even look that big of an issue. Do you know what I mean? And you have Paul Tierney running over then to book Robertson. You're not surprised at that. Again, they all stick up for their mates. But I can't see any situation where this fella doesn't get dragged over the coals a bit. Seany said, and I think he could be right, 2 weeks in the Championship, that's your punishment. Good luck, adios. But I just think Liverpool should make a big deal of it, personally. Liverpool got charged this week for players surrounding the ref against Chelsea. Every fucking team in the country does it. Liverpool never do it. It's one of the things I have a huge gripe about, that we don't get around refs and get in their face. And we do it once and we get charged.
But listen, come here. Listen, if you surround referees and that's against the rules, that's absolutely fine, right? But if you have if Robertson has to be booked there for his mountain album, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, fair play.
But you can't throw an elbow at a player. You can't throw an elbow as a player at another player. Yeah. It's like the time, what's his face? He was at Newcastle and he just loafed the Irish fella off Hull, right, for fucking Pardew. He loafed the Irish fella, I can't remember his name.
David Moyler.
And you're like, what the fuck is going on? If you don't have the pitch, you're getting a fucking 5-game ban. And again, I go back to Roy Keane. Like, Roy Keane...
fuck him, guys.
No, hold on a minute. No, I won't. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, because they'll let away far too easily with these fucking comments that are thrown. No, Seany.
It's WWE and your boy.
It probably is. But the thing is, right, if Roy Keane wants to sit there, why has nobody gone to Roy Keane and Sky and went, hold on, Roy, when you were captain of Manchester United, you surrounded referees and had charges brought against you. Now, if the ref had decided, I've had enough of you, Roy, and punched him in the mouth, would have been all right for us to say, well, Roy, you're just being a bit of a crybaby. And it's a larger point of me, and not everyone. I don't speak for everyone. It's a larger point of me being absolutely fucking... I just detest people that talk about football now. I genuinely do. Because they don't talk about football anymore. It's all just say something to get a reaction. And I can't remember the last time I've listened to Roy Keane talk about football and go, that's a decent football opinion.
But Seany hit the nail on the head. They're all characters now. They're all playing roles. Roy Keane is playing the role of the cantankerous fella and then comes out with outrageous shit. And Michael Richards is his wingman. And
put the tweet up with the popcorn emoji in it and Roy Keane calling Robertson a crybaby with a few emojis there. It's not meant to be taken seriously. People just do, because that's exactly what it's done. It's inflammatory bullshit. Shite. If you watch Keane on...
That's what we're paying for now.
It builds a narrative and it creates a story, and people go with that because they're like, well, maybe Keane is right. Maybe Keane is right. Maybe Robertson is a baby. Fuck it. Let the linesman throw an elbow at him.
I'm just fucking sick of it. Day on day, reading and watching some of the shit.
Sky put them all in it. Like, look, even outside of that, listen to Neville and Carragher's commentary for the Canate chance today. Yeah. What the fuck, like?
Yeah, I know.
It's dog shit. And the thing is, I wouldn't even get wound up over it because they're all playing characters. It's like, one thing I'll say about Graham Souness. Graham Souness is the same pundit now as he was on RTE. Yeah. When Roy Keane is on ITV for international tournaments or RT or whatever he goes on, he's actually not bad. When he's on Sky, he has to be doing, that's his job. Look at the amount of sound bites. It's all sound bites, clips. This is what it's all about. Traction. That's currency to these days. That's why they lash them up with the emojis on. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. Like that, Sky are all these fuckers who are on the gravy train now in Sky. They're all in for a rude awakening because all of these old heads are going to be fucked off and they're going to be bringing influencers on. They have YouTubers on Sky Sports News doing run rounds and talking about transfer stuff and all on Liverpool. Like, it's fucking garbage. It's absolutely shite. They're literally just placating to the new crowd. We're getting old, so we sound grumpy, but we're just being logical. That's what it is. You're looking at Keane saying, "Oh, big baby." It's bullshit. It's garbage. I wouldn't even listen. I take none of. It's literally like they're reading off scripts. They're all playing characters.
Red Steve says Red Steve says, stop reacting, then just flash up in big letters, Roy Keane is a cunt and move on. I could do that, but you see, that's the thing. That's just allowing this shit to go on without, and just we all just go, all right, I think he's a cunt,
Yeah,
but I'll just say nothing.
Yeah, but like having a go and reacting to it is exactly what they want.
I know that. I absolutely know that. But you see,
it's
reacting to it is what they want. But reacting to it and actually saying what's wrong is absolutely fine. What happens is a lot of people react and go, oh, he's not a baby. Or he's not this. No, you're just a fucking dickhead. That's just planted there to fucking do this. And listen, my voice won't be heard. My voice won't be heard. Sky won't hear my voice and say, oh, do you know what? He says that, or anybody else that says it, because they have their algorithm absolutely nailed. But I'm just, honestly, I'll try to stay away from now on, because it's clearly upset a few people that have said it, and I shouldn't be reacting. But honestly, I'm sick to the back teeth of listening to people pretending they're talking about football. When
just think about it, that they're all just playing characters, and
yeah,
that's the way it is. Even go back to when Liverpool beat United 7-0 in the league. Look at the carry on around it. Like, it's all, they play into the Sky because they know exactly what sort of reaction they'll get on the. They know exactly, they're just playing the crowds, and like, Roy Keane is a fucking hypocrite. He always has been. That's no secret. Like, the stuff he comes out with, it's like one of these, like, sort of like how Ronnie Whelan views Liverpool, like how no other Liverpool team can be as good as the one he played in. Roy Keane holds everyone to his standard, and that's fair enough. That's probably just the way he is, but that's obviously why he's not managing a football team and only getting gigs on the telly, because look at some of the shite now that have jobs in football. So, look, if Roy Keane wants to play the WWE character on Sky, leave him to it. They all end up eating their Mickeys one way or another. And that's the best part.
Yeah, Declan says, Gav, you're absolutely biting regarding Keane and Cole. I watched the game volume down and listened to none of these fools before, during, or after games. I usually do as well, Declan. It was just because of the Robertson incident that I didn't see, because I went away from the fucking halftime stuff, and then this came across, and then I heard Keane's comment. I probably should stay away from it, but I just, honestly, it just, not that it does me head in, it's sad. It's actually sad that you can't find many people out there that just want to talk about football in a balanced and reasoned fucking way.
But that's what we were sold on Neville and Carragher as the,
well, that's gone completely by the wayside now.
Didn't last long. That was on. They're only doing it a few bleeding years.
Yeah. But anyway,
didn't even last long.
Second half, Seany, Mo Salah has to come off penalties. End of fucking story. Do you agree? Oh, Shawnee's frozen. Keith.
I'll take that. Yeah.
Go on. Mo Salah has to come off.
Do you know penalties. What? Like, a player can miss a penalty. I never liked Mo Salah's penalty taking a technique, right? But he was scoring them all, so I had to sort of say, right, he scores them. I've always felt his run-up was a bit bleeding mad, and, he'd blast them. And we had the one against Bournemouth, and then we've had this one today, and he's not hitting the target. And that, to me, if you try and outfox a keeper and he guesses the right way and saves a penalty, well, then there's not much you can do. You have to hit the target. 2 in a row that he hasn't fucking hit the target on. I thought he was awful today. I'm going to be honest. I thought we'd so many big chances. Someone put up there 8 big chances. I think he had about 5 of them. And he never looked like scored. I know he scored a goal, but even that looked like, 50-50 if it was his. But I just wouldn't let him take penalties.
No, I
know Milner was always the safe bet, but I think
if you miss one, you probably get to take the next one, because everyone misses one. But when you miss 2 in a row, you just tell Fabinho he's taking it, or Jota or Nunez or whoever's on the pitch, you're just taking it.
You don't fucking get many of them.
No, we don't.
We've only got 2 this season, haven't we? Missed them both.
And the thing is, like, it's not like he's missing them and keepers are saving them. He's sticking them fucking. He's not even in the frame of the goal. Do you know what I mean? He's not even hitting the frame of the goal. So I would have him off penalties, and I thought because Liverpool were building and Arsenal couldn't get out. And I have to say, I thought Liverpool were brilliant in the second half, because they came out, they applied themselves, they were intense, they tried stuff, they moved the ball quicker, and it looked like a Liverpool that you go, that's a Liverpool side playing. Seany, are you taking them off pens? Seany, you sound like you're opening about 48 tablets there.
No, I'm not taking them off pens. It depends who's on the pitch.
Right.
Depends who's on the pitch.
So say for argument's sake, Fabinho's on the pitch.
Yeah, well, yeah. I would have had Fabinho take it today. Yeah, I'm taking them off pens. I'm selling them in the summer. Sell them off. Fucking take them on. Fuck them.
Did you feel that was a big missed chance though, Seany? Did you feel like, when you missed this, you're thinking, we're not even getting back into it, there's a head of steam going here, Arsenal are fucking struggling, and we let them off the hook? Because I did see a couple of people in their Telegram group going, that's probably the game now. Massive let off.
Funny, I was interested to see like how he reacted after the penalty miss, and to be fair, I wasn't disappointed. I think we kept growing, and we had there was sustained pressure up until around 70 minutes where we're well on top. And I agree with you. I thought we were far better in the second half. I thought we looked more like Liverpool. I think Thiago gave us a bit of a spark then when he comes on. Nunes was okay when he come on as well.
Misses a good chance.
We were definitely. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's 1-on-1. He missed a good chance, and I think Ramsdale does well as well to kind of to close him down. But I felt like it was coming, and even in the comment, I was watching it on CNBC. Jim Beglin was commentating, and he was very good. What we missed the penalty in the 50.
It's early.
Yeah. And it's at the 60th minute, and Jim Beglin is like, doesn't expect? Yeah, he says there's an air of when the next goal comes for Liverpool instead of if, and I felt that. I did. Although it does come late, we have a good few chances, and we're by far the better side in the second half. I think they're kind of looking for a bit of a smash and grab, and they've a few half chances, but I think we're by far the better side in the second half. I actually think Arteta does little or nothing to kind of influence the game from the bench when they start looking really leggy. And that would be my concern if I was an Arsenal fan now, is that they look leggy in the last half an hour of football, and we looked energised. And it's just, I go back to a point Emmet made earlier. It's disappointing that we can't start games with the same intensity that we finished them, because we were far better in the second half. We looked more like ourselves. And that's kind of the most fucking frustrating thing for me this season, is that it's not like we're completely hopeless.
Yeah.
There's moments in games where we grow in, and I just feel like when we concede, we give up, and it's so annoying. There's massive mental fatigue, and I think damage may be a strong word. With some of the players, I think just meant that a lot of them looked mentally checked out. I thought Trent was a lot better in the second half, but Mao's missed his last 2 penalties now, so it might not.
3, I think, is it?
Is the last 3? Is it?
Did he miss one? He missed the 2 in the league, the only ones we got. Did he miss one against Napoli in the Champions League at the start of the season? Did he, when we got bounced off over there, or am I thinking of another game?
No, he misses one away at Leicester.
Bournemouth.
Oh, yeah.
He missed one away at Bournemouth.
He missed one away at Bournemouth, and he misses this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 of his last, I think someone said 2 of his last 6, maybe 3 of his last 6.
If Fabinho's on the pitch, Fabinho's a lovely striker at the ball. So wouldn't be opposed to having him in there. I actually thought it looked like Hendo was going to take it, but then it looked like he was just shielding.
Yeah, he did do that.
Yeah, he does that a bit, doesn't he? He tends
to
do that.
Yeah. But Ramsdale doesn't even move, so I don't know. It's just fucking.
I think because he's put it wide at Bournemouth, and this one he's trying to be too precise. Where I just think Salah's best penalties is where he picks, an area of the goal that he's going to hit it nice and firm at, and he usually scores. For me, he's tried to be too precise in his last couple of penalties.
Yeah,
and that's a confidence thing.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, nobody will be more annoyed about that than Mao, and he'll fix that. And I'd be nearly saying he'd score the next one, because that's the type of player he is. And again, for as brilliant as all of these fucking other players in the season have been, and Paul Mao's been, and Saka being and running the player of the year, his best year is only equating to Mao's worst year at the moment. So Mao's definitely not a lost cause, I don't think, by any stretch of the imagination, but maybe taking him out for the next one wouldn't do any harm. Look, we're not playing for that now. For the rest of the
No, we're
season,
not.
if I'm
We're
being
not.
honest
We're
with
not.
you. So
Like,
fucking,
we're too far behind
let's
anything.
see.
Something,
Yeah.
but Shawnee, I was watching the same thing as you with Jim Beglin on it, and I don't know who the co-com was, but he said after we missed a penalty that justice was served because he didn't think it was a penalty in the first place. I mean, what these fuckers are looking at, to me, it's as clear a penalty because you can just see Holden just kicks the back of Jota's leg. Like, it's absolutely
It's
stonewall.
actually, do you know
Jota
what it is?
positions himself in front of him and
Do you
takes
know
the
what it is,
contact.
Keith?
But this is
It's
a
actually,
penalty these days.
it's actually close enough in contact to the penalty Brighton don't get yesterday. Do you know what I mean? Clumsy, down
It's
on
what they
someone's
call
foot. You know, and
it's what they call when Harry Kane does a clever centre forward play.
Yeah, but I don't even think
Getting
Jota's trying to be
himself in
clever. I
between
think
the
he
ball.
does get a good belt. You know what I mean? And he goes down.
Oh, yeah, but he puts himself in the way of it, so he knows the contact is going to come. Do you know what I mean? He knows the contact is coming, and
Well, I want to talk about Arsenal a little bit. Arsenal Fan Circle channel, who's on this channel all the time, in fairness, says Arsenal can use this experience as something to work on for the game at the Etihad at the end of the month. This will go down to the last game, and all I want to have it is in our own hands in the last game. We'll talk about Arsenal in a few minutes because I've a few thoughts on them. But we get back to 2-2 on 87 minutes. And Firmino scores at the back post, and it's a decent move by Liverpool. And Trent does really well, and again, for the bullshit that was being thrown at him in the first half by the two lads in the gantry, and I don't know why the two of them have to fucking commentate anyway. The second half they were very quiet because I thought Trent was really fucking good second half, and I think it was actually led on by the fact that Konate just became more and more aggressive and dominating and front foot to allow Trent to go and do some stuff. If it's the opposite way around there and Zinchenko gets past Trent and scores a goal like that, we'll hear about it for weeks. But Trent does really well. I think Zinchenko's poor. It's a really good ball to the back post. Ben White gets caught under, and it's a really fucking good header by Firmino, who's trying to nearly running away from goal. But we get it back to 2-2, and then there's the chance at the end where I think Konate might just be offside from that header. They don't go back and check it, and that's why I think it's definitely a penalty on Salah. All things being equal, he's being hung off. But I think if they'd have checked VAR, they would have went back into stages, and I think they would have found Konate just offside. But he should score. He's caught between, what's he doing, Chestnut? Dive at it with your head, or just boot it with your foot. He kind of gets caught in between. But that's the way it goes. Arsenal,
just to say before we move on to Arsenal, I thought Firmino was excellent when he came on. I thought it was a great cameo by Firmino today. It didn't comes on around 70.
Works so hard when he comes on.
I thought he was brilliant. I thought the subs actually improved us today, which hasn't usually been the case. Recently we're making subs and it's what the fuck is going on. The arse is falling out of the team. I thought today, even though Nunes does miss that chance and he should score, I thought he was a bit of a thorn in the side for them. Do you know what I mean? And I thought he was good, and I think Thiago just showed little bits of magic again that we haven't seen.
Does Thiago put a bit of fear into Arsenal when he comes on? I felt he did.
Well, you could see the ball gets fizzed in the mid, and it's fucking one thing you'd be very critical of Hendo of. Just sometimes the ball goes into Hendo midfield, and it's 2 or 3 touches too many. Where you could see they were happy to press Hendo and Fabinho when he got the ball, but the first time the ball gets fizzed into Thiago, there's a time in the second half where he just plays a no-look first time ball over his left shoulder into the space, and you could see Arsenal going, oh fuck. And then from that minute, you see Arsenal are dropping 10 yards again from when he comes on. So having a dynamic player in there like that, having a basic fucking the midfielder who can break the lines, which we fucking so badly missed this season, has killed us. And the difference he made when he come on, definitely, like you said, put the shits up at Arsenal, because it looked like there's few moments in the game where you're like, right, fucking, we need to drop now in a minute, because it's not the same kind of, if we push on to Hendo or Fabinho here, it's just going to go back and then we can get shape and kind of rinse, repeat. Fabinho up at Thiago up at something completely different when he come on, and we're going to need him, and we're going to need someone like him in the summer, because just Thiago's not fit enough. We can't spend the last 3 or 4 years hammering Naby Keita for not being available enough and let Thiago off it just because he's better when he's available. we miss Thiago so much, and you kind of forget you miss him. He's out so often. So, yeah, depressing, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, from a good performance, it is
the
depressing because you're looking at it going,
yeah.
every 10 games, how many of them are you going to get? You're probably going to get them available for 3 to 4, and it's just not enough. Especially with the other.
He's into the last year of his contract next year.
Yeah, and especially with the other elements you have in midfield and the lack of reliability and probably the quality as well at times. But look, it's a draw. On the balance of it, I think Arsenal could have been 2 or 3 up in the first 25. Liverpool could have had 2 or 3 in the second half. It's probably a fair result, considering Liverpool are at Anfield, expected to go for Arsenal. And we take it and we move on. Like you said, we're kind of a bit in no man's land now. You know, you'll probably end up with Europa spot or something along them lines. We're not getting top 4, and that's just the way it fucking falls because we haven't been good enough, and we have to rectify that. And I'm sure we'll do loads of shows on that between now and the end of the season and through the summer. But just on Arsenal, lads, because look, we've no skin in this game, right? It's between Arsenal, it's between City. Well, when I say we've no skin, I hope the Jesus Arsenal win it, right? Because I just can't stand them. And don't get me wrong, Arsenal bugged the shit out of me today. But having said that, Liverpool have gone and won leagues and European Cups, and you kind of go, we were a bit like that. We time wasting, we be pricks at times. And you only get upset about it when it's not your team doing it. Do you know what I mean? So I'm actually okay with that stuff. Bit moany at the ref, but again, we've said it on times, Liverpool have been too nice at times. So, you know, that's just the way things go in football. But looking at Arsenal today, Keith, I'll go to you first. I'd be a little bit worried for them. Because I think Liverpool aren't at their best there today for 40 minutes. Right? 30 minutes anyway. First 30. And Arsenal are 2-0 up. And they still can't hold out a game. A really good Liverpool for 50 minutes, let's say. They still can't hold out. And they looked like they were struggling. They looked like they were leggy, like Seany said. The discipline went a little bit. The changes they tried to make, I think Arteta was too defensive in the changes he was trying to make. Would you be a little bit worried for them? Especially going to Man City, because as good as we were second half, we only win the second half 1-0. We should probably win it by more, but City, you look at that and go bang, bang, bang. That's where we're going to go.
Yeah, like Liverpool, even when we're at our best, are an emotional team or an excellent team, but it's all emotion, high octane stuff. Man City are more methodical and will dissect Arsenal. The thing I'd be worried about, if I was an Arsenal fan, is, right, it's Anfield, it's Liverpool. We've only lost, I think, to Leeds there, haven't we, this season?
Yeah, we've only conceded 11 goals at home all season.
Yeah, well, we are formidable at home, but they went 2-0 up against a team whose confidence is absolutely shot the fuck, and they couldn't nail it. They couldn't put it home. Do you know what I mean? They couldn't force it. And well, I think our subs improved us. I think their subs were bleeding dreadful. I was talking to an Arsenal fan earlier, and he's like, why is Zinchenko staying on so long? You know, Zinchenko is left on. I think Tierney only comes on around the 80th minute or something like that. And they're like, yeah, Zinchenko's good on the ball and all. And this is Arteta trying to be Pep. You know what I mean? Like, it's technician. He wants a midfielder in there and the play starting on his fullback. I know we do with Trent and all that, but I think Zinchenko, I thought, was thinking the gaff out from early on in that game, and he left him on too long. And then he took Odegaard off and put a centre back on. And all right, they get out with the draw, but I don't think the draw was a fair result. I think they're lucky to get the draw. I think we fucking hopped off them. I wasn't impressed with them at all today after the first 25-30 minutes. Now, don't get me wrong, I've been impressed with them this season. I've been sceptical of them, thinking until they can mathematically win it, I don't believe they can win it. I'd put my hand up. I think they've been excellent. I think they've played great stuff. I think they're a fast attacking team. They're creative in midfield, but they've got the dirty bastards like Xhaka and Partey in there to do the grisly stuff. I just thought today they shit the bed when, you know, they had an opportunity to really kick us 2-0 up against Liverpool now, and you're not winning that game. You know, we're not a great team at the moment. Even though we played great.
Do you know what? Well, Keith, it wasn't even for me where, like, they really kick Liverpool while they're down or keep them down. Liverpool were always going to come back and throw something at them. My big thing with Arsenal today was that they're 2-0 up on 40 minutes, right? Liverpool have started playing from probably 30 minutes onwards, 25 minutes onwards, where they're putting pressure on and they're trying to get back in the game. You know what I mean? Arsenal fan says Ramsdale won us the point. He probably does, right?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
But I think the thing for me, Keith, is that I'm not saying Liverpool. If this was rolled reverse, Liverpool would have been at the Emirates and would have went and won 4-0. I'm saying Liverpool would have went there and probably won a 3-1. You know, and being solid and confident, and then a trek going the other way, where you go, Arsenal throwing a lot at us here, but Liverpool look like they could do them at any time. That's not what it felt like today for me. It felt like Arsenal were falling back into their shell, and for the first time started to doubt themselves.
I look at it from a Liverpool perspective, and I think he made a great point earlier in terms of the emotion thing. I think the Arsenal players and the fans are way too emotional in terms of where they are in the title race, and that will hamper you. The yellow cards, the moaning, I get it, it's part of it, but it leads to a big dump. We've never beaten Man City in a title race when it was emotional. We won the league by acting like a machine. When we won the league, it was machine like. Although City were miles behind us and we won it in March, it was the machine mentality. It never felt like every week was a last grasp thing. There was one big emotional let off, maybe two in that season. The win away to Villa and then the win at home to United. But after that was kind of plain sailing. I feel like a lot of it with Arsenal is kind of just fabricating the issue that we're in this. I think there's a genuine lack of self-belief that they can actually do it, and they've a massive mental block at Anfield. They haven't won there since 2012, and it was on a fucking play for them today, and they only had to manage the game, and Xhaka starts going kicking out at people, and that ill discipline will cost you points. You will leak points. And when City are in this form that they're in now, I'd say one thing: Jack Grealish looks every bit of £100 million footballer at the moment. He's fucking flying, and Haaland scoring goals at an alarming rate. And like Keith said, City will look at the next 9-10 games, however many is left for them, and go, right lads, we've been and done this dance so many fucking times. Look after ourselves here, and we're champions. And they're so comfortable in that position. Whereas Arsenal are going to be running on adrenaline between now and the end of the season. Yes, they've now distracted between that and Europe, but they genuinely look leggy as fuck. Look at Zinchenko for the second goal today. He's bollocksed. Trent just nonchalantly nutmegs him and clips it to the back post, and they're all on their heels. And it's not for the want of trying, because it was a brilliant effort from Arsenal. I thought we actually defended really well in the second half and limited the teams, and they've been excellent this season. But as we know more than anyone, and this is not a dig at Arsenal, it's genuinely not, because they annoy you for the right reasons. If you're an Arsenal fan, you're annoying the opposition fan for the right reasons, because you're needly, you're tough to be, you're niggly, and you're getting it done, and it's great and determination. But I just think they lack a little bit the emotional intelligence to kind of see this through. And I think that starts with Arteta trying to be like philosophical, even with the show you were saying during the week. You can't train in the zoo and go to the jungle on a Sunday. Like, give her a fucking break, mate, will you? Nobody's falling for that shit. We seen you last year on the fucking documentary playing You'll Never Walk Alone through the speakers. I think they're way too emotional. I think players like Ben White haven't got it in them. I think players like Gabriel haven't got it in them. And although he was brilliant today, Ramsdale will make a mistake between now and the end of the season that will cost Arsenal, because he's not a top goalkeeper. I don't give a fuck what anyone says, because if he was, he'd be England number one ahead of that.
And look who is number one, yeah.
Well,
I
believe I've really, as a neutral, I've really enjoyed watching Arsenal this year. Odegaard has been brilliant. Saka has been brilliant. Saliba has been brilliant. Although I just dug him out there, I think Gabriel has been very good for large parts. I even think Xhaka has been better this year, but I just think they'll be lacking in the killer instinct in the run-in. I think they have a tougher run-in as well than City.
Well, if you look at the fixtures,
they have to go to St James's, who Newcastle have been really fucking good. I got to give them credit, regardless of where that money's coming from. Howe's done a phenomenal job. They come from behind yesterday and beat Brentford at Brentford. Not many teams gotten points there this year. Brentford have been brilliant at home. It's one of the reasons why they're so far up the table. I just think it's all to do now for Arsenal. I think a win today probably would have been like a momentum roller for them, but I think they need a big response now away to West Ham next weekend, which they probably going to have a new manager.
Yeah.
Well,
So
City actually play.
it's going to be tough for them. It's going to be really tough for them.
Well, City actually host Leicester next Saturday at 5:00, right? Which would put them 3 points behind Arsenal on the same amount of games. Arsenal then go to West Ham the next day. You know, City don't play a league game then until they actually face. That's the 15th of April. They don't play a league game until they face Arsenal on the 26th of April, because I was just looking it up there. They play away to Bayern, then they have Sheffield United in the FA Cup, and then Arsenal.
Yeah.
And people are saying they've loads of games, right? They play the 15th and 19th, and then they have the 22nd, and then they have the 26th. So it's a game every 3-4 days. But City are well used to that. This isn't like Arsenal coming up against a team that they only played the league last year. City play all these games every fucking year. Their squad is well able for it. Arsenal, you know, I think they've a couple of handy ones coming up, to be quite honest with you. I think it's actually a great chance for them to get back on the bike. They're away to West Ham next Sunday. They're home to Southampton, and then they go to City. But they do have then Chelsea at home, Newcastle away, Brighton at home in the next 3 before they're away to Forest and home to Wolves to finish off the season. So we'll be in those games. It's definitely going to be that City game that decides it, because if City get a sniff off Arsenal in the next 2 league games where they could actually go ahead of them on points, if they wanted the Etihad, City won't let that go. They just won't. And City have a better goal difference at the moment as well. I've looked, they've won about 8 on the trot, and they've scored 6, 7s, 4s. There's goals going in everywhere. So, but I still hope Arsenal win it. 100%. I think they've been excellent this season. Just a little bit of concern for me today when I watched them, and I thought a little bit more trek going the other way. If you're going to be under pressure, that's fine. It's at Anfield. I'm absolutely fine with that. But a little bit more going the other way, and a little bit more influence off the bench going forward would have actually scuppered Liverpool a little bit and probably got you over the line. But we'll see how it goes. Look, an hour and 10 minutes we're in. Before I'll get to the end of the stuff now in a second, but our charity, the link is in the description. Breast cancer research. If you want to donate, do so via the link in the description. If you want to share it, you can take that link and share it wherever you feel like it, and please do so. We're trying to raise €20,000 for 12 women running the Dublin Marathon for breast cancer research, where the girls are now organising GAA tournaments and all sorts of events to try to raise this money. So they're putting in some serious hard yards. We're doing the same with our golf. So if anybody wants to sponsor our golf day, or wants to give us donate money towards prizes that we will buy for the day, LFC Daytrippers at gmail.com. That can be you, your friends, the company you work for, whoever else. If anyone is interested and they need some sort of verification on it, by all means, I can have a letter there that I can email over to you to tell people exactly what we're doing, and give you all the details of the charity and everything else if they wanted to follow up with the charity, because you know there is people out there that scam you out fucking charity, but we don't. We give you the charity number, and we can give you the reference number that we have that we're raising it, and every month when we raise the money, it gets sent to us and we send it on to the charity, and also take copies of that and send it to the girls that are doing it. So it's all up to date and proper and stuff like that. But if you want to help us out, lfcdaytrippers at gmail.com. There's only 8 weeks left, I think, till the golf day, somewhere around that, and we have quite a few sponsors remaining, and we need prizes. So if you can in any way help us, please do. Seany, anything else before we go?
No, all good. Roll on summer.
Roll on the summer and get more golf in. The bleeding weather's doing my head in. Someone asked me there, how's the golf going? Rush is on the far side. Says, how's the golf going? It's going great. We're back out on Wednesday. The weather doesn't look great, but I'm literally committing myself to that golf course from 9 o'clock Wednesday morning till about 8 o'clock Wednesday night. So if it stops raining or it's not too bad raining, we'll be out. We will be filming. We're hoping to have guests on this week. We're hoping to play in a competition and an actual golf competition and film it as well. So it's going really well. Bang Average Golf, if you want to go and check that out. Keith, anything else before we go?
No, not much, Gav. You know, like I said, Easter all over the place. At least we didn't lose, and there's some positives to take out today. So yeah, happy enough.
Yeah.
Happy enough.
Actually, as well,
we go again.
If it's if it's at off work tomorrow and nothing to do, 3 o'clock tomorrow, belter of a game, Wrexham and Notts County.
Oh yeah,
It's absolutely it's Titanic at the top of the National League.
Ben Foster and goal.
If you watch Welcome to Wrexham, you'll know all about it. So it's fucking huge. It's kind of like, imagine like Liverpool and City, the title race you have. Both of these fuckers are on 100 points, and one of them is going to have to go to the playoffs. So if you've nothing to do tomorrow, 3:00 Wrexham,
it's savage.
Should be a belter of a game.
It's savage point building, goal difference. And they're bang on level. I think they play each other tomorrow.
Wrexham only have a game in hand, I think.
Yeah, and there's about 5 games left overall, so it's it looks absolutely brilliant. The Masters is about to finish as well. There's about 6 holes to go, and that John Ram leads by 2 as we're watching, or as we're speaking. So we let you go. Rest of the week, winners and losers tomorrow. We've no game midweek this week. I mean, not Liverpool, so we'll throw a couple of shows out during the week. There might be a call-in show. We'll do bits and pieces, and we'll be back for next weekend and previews and full-time Reds and Fatback 4s and all sorts of stuff. So, but we keep you up to date as we go. That has been the Fatback 4. Thanks a million to Seany. Thanks a million to Keith. Thanks a million to Emmet earlier. He just his whole system crashed on him, but he will be back next week. Thanks a million to everyone in the chat. Talk to you in a bit. Over now.